like to introduce Doug Risedene.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I don't start all that clapping yet. You haven't heard me speak, you know. We'll make sure we close that door. And they say I've got you till 6 o'clock, so we got a lot to talk about. And what? No, 6 o'clock? No. Everybody find that Rural Water Association on this thing? Yeah? I know I missed a couple. One in Alaska. It's too cold. I couldn't put it up there. In Hawaii. 48 of them, you say? Yeah. That guy over there is Mike. Say hi, Mike. Hi, Mike. I want him to say hi to you, but it's okay. Yeah, so Mike's going to try and videotape this. And I said, Mike, they told me to stand behind the lectern. I don't do that. And I don't wear a mic. Do I need a microphone? No, I don't need a microphone. But I do have one for Mike. So, all right, let's get started. I guess we need to turn this baby on, huh? See if it works. Well, it's not going to work here, I guess. Maybe I will stand behind the lectern. All right, so things we're going to talk about. Why we have trench accidents, how we can prevent them. We're going to have some stats. We're going to talk about competent persons, benching, shoring, communications. We're going to talk about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. But it's really post-trench stress disorder. Anybody here been involved in a cave-in? Oh, Lordy. That's a lot of people. Anybody been involved in a cave-in where someone's not made it? You ever forget that, sir? No, sir. Never forgets it. So the goal here is this. We want to talk about why it's happening. We want to talk about how we're going to stop it, because it's really very easy. It's a very simple thing. We're going to get to that here pretty quick. But I got to tell you something. If you have a trench incident, you have an accident, it's something you'll never forget. And if you have somebody that was on your crew, on your team, and they didn't make it, you're going to live with that the rest of your life. So you folks that haven't been involved in anything like that, make sure that you don't have it happen to you. It's a terrible thing. It's just an absolute terrible thing. I sure wish I could get this thing to work. Oh, there we go. Some stupid workplace stuff. I got to tell you, this one in the center, it says, found an extra pair of boots at the work site, decided to give my supervisor a heart attack. You got to love a guy like that. Once I recovered, I'd give him a raise. Yeah, the shade, the backhoe shade. Oh, boy. Trimming the hair, that's me, by the way. No. More stupid stuff. But this is a little bit more serious. Anybody ever been in that situation? They're down the ditch and somebody's pouring some backfill in there? Boy, that's macho, huh? Yeah. So macho. Have that rock spilling down around you. Suppose he moves a little bit forward and starts dumping that rock on you. If you go home, you're still going to be pretty sore, aren't you? I love this one in the center. What's wrong with that? Talk to me. That one with 6 guys looking down the hole. I want you to know that's an international thing. You can go overseas and you'll see 6 guys looking in the hole, 1 guy working. But look at that. I don't see anything there like a ladder or nothing. We all are, sir. We all are. I'm not going to read all this stuff to you because it's boring and you don't want to hear it. But take a look at it. Every month, workers are killed. Every month. That's usually contractors. Contractors here? Yeah. There's a contractor right here. Another contractor here. Right? Yeah. Why is that? You want to tell me? Ooh. That's pretty close. Who are you going to leave behind? I want you to see right here. Tell me that ain't the cutest little dog you ever saw right there. Huh? That's SpongeBob. That's my dog. Hey, Spongy. Yeah. But what else are you going to leave behind? Grandparents, families, co-workers, wives. Those two lower pictures are an actual incident in Florida. We'll talk about that in a little bit. What won't you ever do again? Anybody here drink beer? Oh, all you guys are mixed drinks, I see. Yeah. What are you going to, you're not going to drink beer anymore. That's worse safety, isn't it? Yeah. And there's some woman back here, you're darn right it is. Yeah. What about boating, fishing, hiking, hunting? I swear that's a meal from Cracker Barrel, Stan. You think it is? Yeah. Yeah. Those are some pretty important things, aren't they? I'm having problems with this. How can we change? There's my reason right there. Taking shortcuts and you're being lazy. Lazy, that's all it is. Well, why? What's lazy about it? John was like, hey, don't come talk to me. John, what do we do? What do we do or what don't we do? We're lazy.
We don't follow regulations. We don't follow standard operating procedures.
Speak up. Don't be afraid. We're all your friends here.
We don't follow regulations. We take shortcuts. We do what's easiest. We don't follow training that we previously had, on and on and on.
Whew. I thought it would never stop. What about boxes? Anybody use a trench box here? Don't lie to me. I'll know. Yeah. Some people don't. Why don't they? Why don't they?
Cost.
Cost?
Yeah.
Okay, cost.
Takes too much time.
All right, I like that one. But Mr. Mike here, he's from Virginia. You know Virginia is for lovers, Mike. Some lovers. Yeah. So cost. The cost of the box, the cost of putting it in the ground?
Both.
Both. What's a life worth to you?
I've been on both sides of the fence. I've done rescues through the fire department, recovery through the fire department, and you can't replace the human life with whatever you spend.
Okay. It's laziness, though. We're lazy. That was your son-in-law? I'm going to tell him, too. We're lazy. You ever have a box and you don't want to put it in the ground? Why? It's a pain in the butt. Sure it is. It's hard to work with a box, isn't it? Nobody wants to do it. Might even take it out. Might be sitting right there. But we don't put it in the ground. We're lazy. We don't want to do it. It's a pain in the butt to work in it. Last line. Just because you haven't had a trench accident doesn't mean you won't. I was out in Montana last year, and we were talking about safety, and he says, well, we haven't had any accidents yet. Yet. Holy cow, what a scary statement. We haven't had any problems yet. I'd say every day you don't have a problem means you're getting that much closer to having one. So we got to make some SOPs. You know why? Because OSHA did. And the fines went up. You know, it's $10,000. If I show up as an OSHA inspector and I go up here to Mr. Boney's ditch and I've already been there 10 minutes and I've already taken all sorts of pictures and I already know that I'm going to find this guy. Yeah. $10,000 per person per violation. You want to explain that to your bosses? I do not. There's some stats. 48 inches on a ladder, 60 inches on a trench box. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. I disagree with you. On 5 feet, I need a trench box. Anybody have a lesser regulation? Sir?
We base it on soil conditions and weather conditions.
Okay, so if it's bad soil and bad weather, when do you put it in?
Anything equal
Okay? 811. You got to call them. You got to let them know what's going on. Why? It's the law. You got to do it. Are you out of your minds for not doing it? Yes, you are. Think about that one cable that you've just hit because you were in a hurry, because you were lazy. Back to laziness, isn't it? 911, let them know where you're working. Anybody call 911 before they go on the ground? Gentleman right here. Anybody else? Whoa.
Yes, we do, but we just call around.
You call around to who? Whoever's on the phone list, or what's the story?
Yeah, phone list.
Yeah? Hi, this is Pat, and I just want to let you know that we're going to be in the ground. Okay, when would you like to pick up those donuts, sir? What do you mean? Who are you calling?
We call the fire guys, we call the cops, we call the highway patrol, call the sheriff.
Okay, he's calling. Nobody else is calling. Man, oh man, what am I going to do with y'all? Let me ask you a question. Do you think that your rescue people know how to rescue you if you're down in a ditch, you've had a cave-in? How do I have here? Firemen? Oh, there's a bunch. Are you guys trained in ditch? These guys are going, yeah, yeah. This guy's going, yeah, yeah. Yes?
There's a lot of contractors that come into the town and they want to know all the emergency and the response line.
Oh, that's nice. You hear that? Contractors come into town, want to know the emergency number, want to know how quickly they can respond. Because there's not much time left, is there, if there's a cave-in? It goes from a rescue to a recovery like that. Air testing, weather conditions. Think weather has anything to say about your ditch conditions? Yeah? You agree with me on that? What about hot and cold? Does that make any difference? What do you think, Nick?
Cold.
Cold. Yeah, Nick's a cold man. I've talked to him earlier today, but he's my buddy. Yeah. Weather conditions. What about tides? I've worked in areas where you got to schedule your work around the high tide. Now, these three guys from North Carolina, you know, they kind of talk funny, but they're good guys, I tell you now. But yeah, we got a lot of coastline up there, and you got to do a lot of work around tides. Most guys will carry a tide chart in their pocket, and they'll plan it out. They got a big project coming up. They're going to check on tides. What's that got to do with trench safety? Water, moving water. What about running sand? Anybody ever see any running sand here? Yeah, there's a gentleman right here. Sure. And what about that water? And if that tide's coming in, is that an issue? Oh, yeah. So there's a lot of things that go into trench safety. You know, when I started building this course about 6 months ago, I thought, hey, this is a pretty good course. Yeah, I did a good job. And then I had some friend of mine who I just met, and he said, hey, what about saw safety? What about saw safety in a trench? Here's a guy frowning back here. Hey, Steve, how are you? No, don't back off on me now, buddy. We still love you here. We're your friends. You've never been safer than right here. Yeah, saws. Saw safety in the ditch. You guys ever think about that? Huh? Anybody have any accidents? Saws? Kickbacks? Arms getting cut off? Yeah. It's pretty tough to cut a pipe on top of the ground, isn't it? What about down in the ditch? Whoa, here's somebody. I'm talking cutting pipe, and this guy's talking about fumes. Yeah, from the saw. What about that? Is that a safety issue? Is that an issue for us when we're down in the hole? Do you take a blower and blow air down in there? Yes? Anybody else do that? What I'm really trying to say is, hey, this thing gets bigger and bigger. It's like a little monster. When you start thinking about all the different things that are involved in trench safety. And that's really what this hour that we're going to spend is about. Trying to get you guys to think outside the box and do things that maybe you haven't done or wouldn't normally do. I love seeing equipment next to the ditch, especially when it's running. I mean, I just, whew. SOPs, there's some things that we ought to be using. You test your air when you're down in the hole. Yeah? There's one gentleman here saying yes. There's another man saying, but a lot of people don't do that. They think that that testing device is just for going down that manhole, doing that sewer work. What about saws? There we go. We're talking about saws. ICS saw. Anybody use one of those? Yeah. They don't cut that pipe. Did you know that? No siree. That's a grit chain. And that grit chain just cuts right through there. But it's not going to kick back and kill anybody. Not going to maim them. Not going to hurt them for life. Because I guarantee you, you get hit, you're going to be hurt for life. If you don't want to see this, close your eyes. Because this is kind of an ugly slide. This is a chop saw accident. Anybody want to close their eyes? Because here I go. This is my friend Mark from Louisiana. And he was cutting a piece of pipe down in the ditch. And of course it bound up and it kicked back on him. Now Mark is the guy that you don't want to look at anymore as he walks down the street. And he'll never be the same. I got your attention, right? Whew. Poor Mark. He sure had nice blue eyes, didn't he? Yeah. And I asked Mark, I said, Mark, can I use this? He said, sure. If it'll help somebody else, please use it. And that's why it's up there. It's supposed to grab your attention and say, holy cow. Let's talk about competent persons. Anybody here a competent person? That means half of us are incompetent. Yeah, he was. This gentleman right here says, your point is what? Yeah. Yeah, competent person. How come we're all not competent persons? No answers?
Too much liability.
Too much liability here. Yeah, there's a liability involved in that. I'd rather take on that liability, though, because I want my crew to go home safe at the end of the day. Because what's the most important thing we're going to do every day? Hello? Go home. That's exactly right, sir. That's what a competent person is. They've got the ability to stop any job. Do the people that work under you have the ability to stop a job without finding future employment? Yes? What about you, Mr. Contractor? Definitely. Everybody on the job should have that authority. I don't care if you're the guy down there with the shovel or you're the boss. You ought to have the authority to shut down that job if you don't think it's safe. Here, I won't read all this, but hey, I'm a competent person standing up here on the ground. And Sue is down there. She has now been the victim of a cave-in, and now she's pressed up against that pipe. Can she breathe? I don't know. Does she suffer injuries and not die? Got to have that competent person on site. When you folks go back to your respective states, you ought to make sure that your people are trained in being a competent person. It's the first step. It's a never-ending process, but it's the first step, and everybody ought to do it.
We send one employee every year, different employee, every year for that training.
And that's important because why?
Because they're rotating. Somebody's in the hole, somebody's out of the hole.
A competent person is on vacation. That means they can't do any work, right? And that leak is just going to have to keep leaking? No. So Mr. Tom here says we send somebody every year for competent person training. Everybody ought to have it. Everybody ought to have it. These are a couple of incompetent New Yorkers here being led off to jail. They were indicted after some people died. Let's talk about ladders. Everybody's got them, right? 25. What's 25? Anybody know? Scream it out. 20? Every 25 feet. Do you think this fat old man could run 25 feet to get to a ladder? No. Collectively, no. What about 4? What's that number got to do with anything? Got to have 36 inches out of the hole. You got to have a ladder in there when you're 4 feet in the ground. Gotta. Oh. Is that beautiful? It doesn't look that way anymore. We had a pretty big storm down Florida way. But isn't that beautiful? Oh, that's enough. I don't want you guys to get too crazy on me. Oh, let me go back. And yet, in January of this year, 3 utility workers, they got a complaint of a sewage odor, a sulfur odor. And so they went out to investigate it. So what did they do? They went down in the hole. Just like that. One guy dead. So what do? That's your buddy down there. The guy went in after him. He died. And the third guy went down the hole. Dead, right there. No competent person, no gas detection or retrieval equipment, and no survivors. We had one fireman show up, and he was going to go in the hole. Where's my fireman? Raise those hands up. Did you know that if you have your air tank on, you won't fit down in that manhole? And so you know what he did. He took it off. That's right, sir. He took it off and went down into that ditch. Now, he didn't die, but he talked like this now. Ooh. Anybody else have goosebumps? You can see another fireman and 2 deputies also went to the hospital. How bad do you think that odor was? Think it was tremendous? Because I do. So maybe if you're doing a sewer job, you want to have a tester, have retrieval equipment. We show up on the site, it's so bad, maybe we don't want to even think about going in there. What do you guys think? You guys can hear me, right? Okay, just checking. Back to water, and does it affect your ditch? Anybody know about this incident? Anybody here from Massachusetts? No? These 4 guys they're working down in a ditch, and they've got a hydrant that's kind of suspended on a dirt pedestal. And the ground moves, and so does that hydrant. 6 inches is a lot of water, folks. A lot of water quick. A lot of water quick. Whew. Anybody want to talk to me about that ladder? That's where the other 2 are, down at the bottom of that ladder. They got caught in the mud, and then they drowned. And this guy up top here holding on to that chain was one of 2 other fellows that got out. Do you think he's having a little anguish right now? Yep. Do you think that he'll ever get over what happened there that day? Nope. You know why he's going to be torn and tormented the rest of his life? Because his men died and he didn't. And he will never ever forgive himself, and he will never, ever lead a normal life because of what he's gone through. It all happened in an instant. Doesn't it always? And I just saw him yesterday. So here's the facts after they did their investigation. 14 feet underground. Dirt and clay covered them up to their waist. The water was high above their heads. Yeah. Wow. Pretty quiet in here, isn't it? The owner of the company is charged with manslaughter, 2 counts. They tried to cover up their inaction of taking safety classes and doing things safely. There was a box on the site, trench box. I don't know if that would have helped, but it might have. And there it is, post-trench stress disorder. I have a gentleman up here, Mr. Fred. I talked to him. He's a pretty remarkable individual. I'm not going to ask him to stand up and talk about things, but he was buried. And he had a hard hat on. So there was some space where he had some air. And they dug him out, and he survived. He's here. He's here today. Does he have trench disorder? Oh, yeah. And you would too. I'm amazed that so many people have been involved in some sort of trench accident. Thank you, Mr. Fred, for sharing that with me. Oh, good. I didn't die. But you might be disabled the rest of your life. And it might not be the worst thing that ever happened to you. Surviving, I mean. You will be a burden to your family and your friends. You will have a miserable life. Yeah, you will be alive. And isn't that really what we all want? We want to be alive. Living's good. But yeah, going to be tough. What's the answer? Training. We talked about that a little bit. OSHA does it. National Safety Council does it. Rural Water does it. All sorts of places you can go for training. Make it a continuous process. Make sure that the SOP that you have allows for your job to be stopped. Like after a rainstorm. In Florida, man, it rains. It'll rain. You'll get 4 inches in the afternoon. Just woof. Think that affects that work site? Oh, yeah. It's just like starting over. You got to clean all that crap out of the ditch. You got to test. You just got to make sure that it's safe to go back in the ground. And I would never go in the ground until I cleaned it all out and put a trench box in. Never. Because rain just changes everything. I talked about it already. What about vacations? What about sick time? Everybody's got to get trained. Are we so lazy that we don't want to go to training? What about trenching? I love this ladder outside of the box in the center picture up top. That's not regulation, by the way. 5 feet. I got to put a trench box in. Shoring. Anybody shore here? Anybody use shoring rather than a trench box? A couple folks here. Yeah. That's a lot of work, isn't it? So my hat's off to you. If you're going to go that far as to use shoring rather than a trench box, that shows your dedication to safety in the trench. What about shoring and benching? Do we have that luxury most times? No, not often. We just don't do it. We can't do it. Why? Some of us are downtown, right? Maybe there's other things that are going on out there. Maybe some of you folks are city folk, and you've got, I know we're rural water, but you still could be city folk. And there's pipes right next to another pipe. Is that an issue for you? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you just can't dig back. Anybody else like test their soil? Go out and do the worm test and all that other good stuff?
What's that thing you stick into the wall? It's a little device.
Yeah, spectrometer.
Thank you.
Yes. You use that?
Well, I didn't.
You don't even know what the heck it's called.
Yeah,
What
I
are you
didn't-
talking
yeah,
about?
I knew about it.
You're from California.
I should know about it, huh?
You got any water out there?
A little bit.
Yeah, I hear you.
We just got a lot this winter.
They got a lot of water this winter. Anybody, what do you guys usually use? Holler out to me. What do you use? Thumb. There you go. That's what I like to use. Can I stick my thumb in there? We're going to pass right over that. Yeah, that's what I like to use. I like to stick my thumb in that ditch, in the side wall. You know what I'm talking about? You can go like this. If you don't know, it's okay. What about this? Anything right here? Oh, I love that ladder in the center. Hey, wait, we got a ladder. Anybody here have an OSH investigation? Yes? No? You don't know? Hey, they're supposed to stop if they see a hole. If they're in Ocala, Florida, this lady here from Ocala, Florida. What's your name? This is really not a microphone, but yeah. Yeah, she's from Ocala, Florida. So if she's down in the ditch working and they finally come up and talk to her, they've already been there 10 minutes. They've taken all the pictures or videos they need to take. So if you have an OSHA investigation going on and they show up at your hole and you ain't the boss, the first thing you want to say is, I'll get the boss out here. Yeah, let the boss handle that. You know, are you going to get fined? Oh, yeah. It's okay. Let the boss handle that. What about these guys in the upper right-hand corner? I don't know if you can see this. There's some shirt and tie guys out there. Sidewalk superintendents, and thank you. And there's no box and there's no ladder, and the dirt piles right up against the side. Yeah. Wow. Just like Mr. Fred said up here, he said, man, it's liability. Oh, yeah. Those guys just being there created a liability for themselves, huh? This is called thinking outside the box. And Mr. Fred, you're making me dizzy there, man. I thought we were having an earthquake here in Reno. Thinking outside the box. How do you like that shoring? Holy cow. I don't know what that guy's doing standing up over his head there. Yeah, thinking outside the box, and this is shoring, 101. There's some statistics. I guarantee every one of these people that died in a trench, they hadn't planned for it that day. They were pretty surprised for a second. Look at that bottom. Most of these are avoidable. Right people, knowledge, right equipment.
All of them should be avoidable.
Sure, they sure should. Yeah, they ought to be. Once again, we're back to lazy. We're being lazy. Stop it. Alamogordo, New Mexico. Is that a safe trench? Biggest project I've ever been on. What do you guys think, guys and gals? A lot better than the other ones. Wait, are you from Montana, sir? Okay. I was just in Minnesota, up in Waconia. Beautiful area. Yikes. Got electrocuted on the job. Anybody been on a job site besides myself where a guy got electrocuted? Couple of us? Yeah. Yeah, it happens. But these guys here, and you'll see he's got 24 years experience. They were working on this big water main break. And they had to move the lighting. Tower light. And they moved it. Zzz, came in contact with the electric lines. Dead. What a waste. That's the kind of stuff I didn't even think about. I saw this when I was up there, and I said, oh my goodness, tell me this story. It's a terrible story. I won't take your time. It's a terrible story. And we don't think about, is this trench safety? Yeah, it all is. Every bit of it. We think about, oh, we go out there and we dig a hole, and we're only going to be in that hole for a few seconds, and we're going to turn that corpse stop on, the one that we forgot to turn on when we started, and now we buried it, we got to go back in there. We'll only be there a little bit. Yeah, it'll be all right. Just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, all the issues that come up. So if you've got a trench safety program in your state, in your community, a lot of you folks are rural water people from different states, start pushing this. Start pushing trench safety. Question. Was there a question? Sir.
My company had a guy electrocuted who was leaning on the valve key waiting for direction, and the backhoe hit an underground cable arc to the cast iron pipe. He was leaning on the valve key and electrocuted, killed him.
You hear that? Guy's leaning on a valve wrench, you know. Backhoe operator hits an underground line, it arcs over and hits that wrench. Dead, right there. Holy cow. Makes you not want to go in a ditch, doesn't it? I don't know, guys. What do you think? Is that safe? Too deep. I didn't even see a ladder there. Oh, there's the yellow ladder, yeah. I got to tell you, I sure like that product they're using down there, though. But we won't talk about that, okay? Soil classification. What the heck? Who put this slide in here? Yeah, I know some people older than dirt. ABC, everybody knows this is ABC soil, right? What kind of soil are you guys working in? C? You don't have any A soil out here? Huh? You can read all that, don't bother. No soil is type A if. You can read that if you want. I don't think there's any A soil out there, and if it is, we're not going to be working in it. It's way up in the mountains somewhere maybe, huh? I saw this guy up in the upper left-hand corner. This is in Reno just a few days when I flew in. I don't know why that pump isn't working, but yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. All right, take a look at that center picture. I want to talk to you about this. I think it comes up a little bit later, but tell me how deep that ditch is. Tell me how come there's not a box there, and tell me where that guy's head is. Three foot deep, somebody's saying. Do I need a box? Do I need it? Johnny Spencer says, yeah, it's over your head. What do you think about that? Is he right? Why is he right?
How about atmosphere?
How about atmosphere? This ought to be rich. Go ahead, tell me, sir. Where are you from? Where are you from?
Kentucky.
Kentucky?
Yes, sir.
You people talk funny down there, too,
We
don't
do,
you?
too.
Yeah. They got bluegrass down there. So go ahead, atmosphere. Talk to this crowd about atmosphere.
Well, he's got his head below.
Yeah? Yeah?
And you should have mentioned that while ago when you had the saw in that shallow ditch.
What about that? So my contention is this. I don't care what OSHA says. If I'm going to be down there in the ditch and my head's going to be at 18 inches while I'm working on a pipe, I want a box around me. Because why? Well, that too, but I want to go home. That's the one thing I want. That's the one thing I want to do every night. I want to go home safely. But yeah, all y'all's is right. Class B? Yeah, maybe. There's my comfort zone. Class C. Everything's going to be Class C. You just got to figure that it's Class C, and you got to act that way. You got to work that way. There you go. Plasticity and the shear vein and the thumb penetration, the visual. Yeah, I think that's the most valuable tool we've got, that visual test. Having guys looking at that ditch. You guys got people going down in manholes, and they're working down there? You ever talk to them while they're down there? I always talk to my guys when they're in the manhole. Because the first time they say, yeah, holy moly, out of the hole you're coming. So the visual test is I'm looking down there. I saw a slide one time of an OSHA guy that was out there investigating the hole. Get out of the hole right now. Made them all come out. Just a few seconds later, kaboom. That whole trench caved in. Visual stuff. Oh, safety zones. Safety zones important when we're out there? Is that a trench safety issue? Yeah, I think so too. You guys, training and safety? I know North Carolina is big on flagger training. You know, setting up safety zones. Yeah, got to be. Yeah, we are all certifiable. No, I didn't mean it that way. Yeah. Yeah, it's part of trench safety. Road work ahead. Holy cow. Stop slow. What about that hole up there? That guy's going to drive that Chevy into that hole. Yeah, and a whole bunch of other things, and we're going to pay for it. Yeah. Gosh, it's so important. You want to be working down in that trench box? You want to be the guy in that backhoe? And all of a sudden you've got an accident? Doesn't make any difference. Why? Somebody could get hurt. We could lose the backhoe, couldn't we? Is that a problem? Yeah. Yeah, it's a problem because that job's still got to get done. If you have an accident on your job site and somebody gets badly injured, or the worst, they're going to go to the funeral home that night, that job still has to get done. You want to be the guy that's working there if that accident's taking place? I don't. So yeah, traffic safety is very important in trench safety. Communications, holy cow. We're getting to the end. Don't fall asleep on me yet. Communications. Oh, what a world we live in about communications. We communicate with the fellow workers, 9/11, citizens. It is the most important thing you're ever going to do is to communicate with people. Whether you communicate with your fire chief, your police chief, the dispatch center, hey, we're going to be in here. We got this road closed. We could have an issue. What about tailgate meetings? Anybody, well, you guys really aren't like, a lot of you guys out on the job working, or just, yeah, a couple here. Yeah, there's always time for a tailgate meeting. I don't care what's going on. I don't care if that 12-incher is let loose. You always send a couple guys out to try to start cutting off those valves. There's always time for a tailgate meeting. Always. One of my dearest friends, she's departed this earth, but I got to tell you, don't tell anybody this, but this is Eloise, and I hated her. I really hated this woman. She was a burr in my saddle. Until Doug got smart. Because Eloise, she'd come up and she'd complain. I'm coming to, you okay? Yeah. Okay. I'm coming to the council meeting, and I'm telling you, Doug, I hated this woman. And then all of a sudden I said, you know, Eloise and I have some of the same issues, some of the same problems. And you know what? They listened to her before they would listen to me. Why? Third disinterested party. I could stand up there and say something to her or to the council, and she could get up and say word for word what I said to them. And they'd agree with her, disagree with me. So all of a sudden, Doug got some intelligence and said, hey, you know, I'm going to make Eloise my best friend. Now, Eloise, she enjoyed donuts. You like donuts? What kind of donuts you like? Chocolate. This guy back here likes chocolate donuts. How do you stay so skinny with a chocolate donut craving? That's a diet? I want to be on that guy's diet. Yeah, so I started bringing coffee and donuts to Eloise, and we started communicating. And she became my greatest ally. If you've got people like that in your system, I'm telling you, donuts and coffee, sit there and listen. When people are mad, what's the one thing they want? They want somebody to listen to them. You don't have to agree with them. You just got to listen to them. Hear them out. Am I right? Yeah. So that's what I started doing, and Eloise became a friend. Try it. If you got a problem, you try it. So here we are, talking to dispatch centers, talking to fire and police. Somebody brought up the subject of, hey, we have contractors that say, what's the number we're calling? Are they willing, or not willing, but are they able to save us if we have a problem? Man, that's good stuff. That's really exciting. Communicate with all these folks. You'll be happy that you did, especially if you have an accident. There we go, tailgate communications. Now, this one on the lower right-hand side looks like a prayer meeting to me. But nothing wrong with a prayer meeting. And I've been on some jobs that I wish we had prayed before we went out and did them. You know? Always have a tailgate meeting. You want to throw a prayer in? That's fine too. Products, holy cow. Did I tell you that we're from Hymax and we saw a lot of, oh yeah, we did. We talked about that. Yeah, having the right product. I've been out on jobs where I didn't have the right product. Oh, if you're the boss and you don't have the right product, you're looking pretty bad, aren't you? Yeah, stupid. Your folks, could be your supervisors, could be the town council, could be the guys that work for you. I'm like, what the heck's wrong with Doug? He didn't have the right product. Yeah, you always got to be prepared, don't you? Colorado. Yeah. Okay. No, I like Colorado. These Colorado guys are very sensitive here. You got to be careful with them. All right. So what do we learn? Can we prevent these accidents? Hello, you're still awake, right?
Yeah.
Sorry about that foot, sir.
That's right, I stepped on the
All right. Yeah, is it laziness? Could be the fact that you don't have the proper equipment, couldn't it? You might have to go out and buy a new saw. Is that right? Talking to you in the red shirt right there. Might have to go out and buy a new saw that's not going to cause an injury. Might have to buy a box. Might have to train the heck out of your people. Yeah. SOPs, if you don't have them, the people that you're going to see, got circuit riders here, right? Anybody? Yeah? Come on, raise those hands. You have no idea how much these people, these communities, love to see you come in. You don't have any idea. Why? Because you're all wealth of knowledge. And they love to have you come in. And you serve such a great purpose to these communities. If they don't have SOPs, you help them. Competent persons, let's hammer away on that. Shoring soils, communications, PTSD. Woo! Your brain should be full. And your hearts, too, because we've touched some pretty sensitive nerves here. if I can ever help you in any way, please call on me. I'll be more than happy to do that. I'm not going to tell you how many years of experience, but it's a lot. And I'd be more than happy to help you in any way that you need me to help you. We're out of here. What time is it? Is it time?
3:37.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Good presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Capps.
Steve.
Steve.